3, determining the validity of a proof or an argument. So sometimes it can be difficult to figure out whether or not somebody has presented a proof that's valid. So we need to be able to go through it and determine whether or not it's valid. So what we're going to start off with is looking at a fallacious proof. In mathematics, a fallacy is an incorrect argument in logic or deductive reasoning. One of the most famous fallacies, or fallacious proofs, is the attempt to use deductive reasoning to prove that 1 equals 2, or 2 equals 1. So this is the proof. Let A equal B. That's my setup. Then A plus A would be equal to A plus B. That's adding A to each side, which is allowable. I can add things onto each side as long as I'm keeping them the same. So step 3, I get 2A equals A plus B. All I've done is I've collected the like terms, which again is allowable. I can collect the like terms. Step 4, I subtract by 2B on each side. That is allowed. As long as I do the same thing to both sides, I have not changed the value. So my reasoning was to subtract 2B from each side. In the next step, on this side, I factored out a 2. So I factored a 2 from the left side, and on the right side, I collected the like terms. B minus 2B would be negative B. Then in step 6, I went 2A minus B divided by A minus B, and I divided this side by A minus B. Okay? So I divide both sides by A minus B. Because I'm dividing by the same value on both sides, this actually still works. So on this side, the A minus B cancels out the A minus B equaling 1. So I get 2 times 1. A minus B cancels out A minus B, and I get 1. So then step 8, I can draw the conclusion that 2 equals 1. So in step 7, what I did is I canceled the A minus B on each side. And that allowed me to get my conclusion. But we know that 2 doesn't equal 1. I can put 2 counters and show you 2 here, 1 here. They're not the same thing. So what happened within my setup? Something went wrong. Even though all the steps seem to follow, there's something that went wrong with my steps. And that was right here, when I divided by A minus B. Because what I have to remember up at the top is I said that A is equal to B. So if A equals B, if I bring this B to the other side, so if I get rid of the B here by subtraction, I get A minus B equals 0. So in step 6, when I was dividing by A minus B, I'm actually dividing by what? I'm dividing by 0. We can't divide by 0. There's the error. I did something I'm not allowed to do. I cannot divide by 0. So anything after step 6 is no longer applicable because I can't proceed. So in mathematics, a proof is valid if the reasoning is true in every step of the proof. This fallacious proof of 2 equals 1 is invalid Because in one of the steps, the reasoning was not correct. The step being that I cannot divide both sides by 0. Okay? So it's correct to say that I can divide both sides by the same thing, as long as that same thing is not 0. That's the only thing I can't divide by. So even though all the other steps are correct, it only takes one improper action to render the proof invalid. In mathematics, an argument is when two or more statements or propositions called premises are used together to form a conclusion. An argument can be valid or invalid. Okay, so there's a couple of notes here. Whether the premises of an argument is true or not true depends on the content. The validity or invalidity of an argument is determined only by its logical form. So validity does not necessarily imply truth. An argument can be valid but not sound. An unsound argument is when the premises of the argument is not true, but it leads to a logical conclusion. Some things to think about. So consider the following argument shown. All women are mortal. Anne Irwin Young is a woman. Therefore, Anne Irwin Young is mortal. Second argument. Some people who cough have the flu. Jaden has a cough. Therefore, Jaden must have the flu. Which argument has the error in reasoning, and explain what that error is in the argument? So, argument number 1. Is it true to say all women are mortal? Last time I checked, maybe with the exception of Mary, we are all mortal. We will all die. If Anne Irwin Young is a woman, she will die, therefore she is mortal. That is a valid conclusion. In argument number 2, what do we have different in this argument? The word some. Some people who cough have the flu, not all people. So in argument 2, the error in the reasoning is some people, not all. So if Jaden coughs, it might not be because of the flu. There could be several other reasons as to why Jaden could cough. I have another example. This one's a little bit long-winded. This, I think you've seen or heard or even talked about or even possibly brought it to my attention. 3 friends are going to Comic-Con. So what they do is they buy this package. Includes tickets to Comic-Con, room and board during the convention. They travel together from Lethbridge to San Diego and arrive a day before the convention starts, and it's pretty late at night, so they need one more night's stay. And it's at the hotel that's not included in their package deal. So they're very tired. The hotel has 1 room left, but it's still under renovation, so the manager's going to give them a discount. So the manager charges them $30 for the room, which means each friend gives $10 each. The next morning, the manager kind of feels bad, figures, you know what, $30 is still a little too high. I need to give them back some money. So he gives the bellboy $5 and says, take this back to the gentleman. So the bellboy realizes the 3 friends are not expecting any sort of refund at all. So what can I get out of this? I know I can't divide the $5 between the 3 friends evenly, so I'm just going to save them from an argument. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them each $1. So he gives them back $3 and keeps 2 for himself. So each friend gets $1 back. So they paid $10 for the room. They each got $1 back, which means that they only paid $9 for the room. 9 times 3 is $27. The bellboy kept $2. That gives them $29. What happened to the extra $1? That's the question that always comes forward. So, what was Bill's error? Because Bill reads this story and he comes up with the $29. So press pause, talk to each other if you want to about this, and see if you can come up with some error in Bill's reasoning, some explainable error. So Bill's error in his reasoning is not so much an error as it is a case of misdirection. Okay? The friends didn't pay $27 for the room. The friends paid $25 for the room. So the price of the room was $25. That's what they paid. They each got $1 back, and the bellboy kept $2. There's my $30. All of the stuff above about, well, they only paid $9 for the room, that's not what it is. They paid $10 for the room, got $5 back, $2 went to the bellboy. The money is still there. It's just a case of misdirection in how the story is presented. So the questions that I want you to work on are questions 2, 3, 5, and then 6, 7, 8. So again, work on these questions, work with each other, talk to each other. You can ask for help, but just try to get through these questions as best as you can. Remember the part about the odd and the even numbers, because that'll come into play with today's lesson that we did yesterday. See you later.